Good day. Welcome again to another video in regards to logistics, trucking, and everything to do with supply chain logistics in general. Today we're going to be talking about driver retention and what that looks like, what strategies you can take as a trucking company to make sure that you can bring on drivers on board and have them be a part of your team and not necessarily have them come stay for a couple weeks and then decide that this company that they're working at, your company, is not for them because of certain issues that they feel need to be addressed, and if you don't address them, they leave. So how do you keep them? What can you do in your standard operating procedures? What can you do in your daily kind of workflow to help these drivers out, and what you can do year over year to make sure that you retain them? Drivers quit for many different reasons. Sometimes it's due to poor pay. Sometimes it's due to time away from home. Sometimes it's due with the issues with the schedules, clashes or issues or conflicts, arguments, debates with their supervisors, and poor quality of equipment can also be an issue for drivers. So, what are some strategies that you can do as a trucking company to help you retain these drivers and help your company grow and not necessarily have these drivers go from one fleet to another, or even worse, catastrophically, they leave the industry, which makes it harder for all of us because there's already a driver shortage because of what happened during COVID, where truck driving schools and truck driver training courses were put on hold. So there's this big funnel of drivers that were waiting to get into the industry that just some of them never even ended up completing it. And now we're kind of seeing this backlog of drivers there as well. And so the whole issue with the driver shortage is the older generation of drivers, as they retire, there's not enough new blood, young blood coming in to as an influx to help, um, curb that exponential downward trend of available drivers for trucking companies to utilize. So things that you can do, things that I implemented when I had my own truck companies, like my own carrier, my own authority. We weren't too crazy big. I mean, at the biggest, largest time, we were at 8 trucks. So, but you know what? In North America, most trucks are between 1 and 15 trucks. Most trucking companies. So most trucking companies have between 1 and 15 trucks, and that makes up 90% of the available capacity in the U.S. and Canada. Um, and Mexico as well. These mega carriers, they're few and far between. And so they do hold 10% of the available capacity, but it's nothing compared to the mom and pop shops out there that are 1 to 15 trucks that are available in the industry. So there's a good chance that if you're listening to this, you are a mom and pop shop, company. So, in terms of what you can do to help retain drivers, one big major thing that you can definitely do is increase driver pay. So, as freight capacity does tighten, some companies have, said during the last, like in 2021, where rates were crazy, and the beginning part of 2022, they said, okay, we're gonna raise our rates, and to stay competitive, certain fleets increase pay in order to ensure they have enough drivers to move freight, because drivers will hear from one driver to the next what that driver is getting at another company, and so there's a lot of competition out there for driver retention as well. So you got to make sure you're up with the times and know where you should be with that pay. And this is true actually for owner operators too, in terms of the percentage that an owner operator gets. If you're giving them 70%, for example, and they hear on the grapevine that they can get 79% or 80% at some other trucking company, there's a good chance they're gonna want to leave you. So you got to make sure that you can differentiate yourself, just like any other business, right? In addition to this, you can reward top performers or top drivers So while a fleet cannot overlook unsafe driving practices, in addition to punishing bad driving behavior, you could try rewarding the top performing drivers. You can identify really good drivers based on the variety of factors like, seatbelt use, braking habits, acceleration. You can use telematics to find this out, and telematics, like for example, Geotab. If you have an e-log from Geotab, they have telematics that they can tell you exactly what's going on with that truck and that driver when they're on duty. I use Geotab. I never had problems with my drivers. Again, it's probably the reason we grew really slow. I kind of went down the philosophy of, okay, if I can get one good drive, if I can get three drivers, okay, but one of those drivers is really good, I'm just gonna go with the really good one. And then it's like, okay, now I have a pool of five drivers that have applied for my job. Okay, now I can do three, and I have like two good ones in that pool. Okay, now I have three really good ones. So I'm gonna stick with the really good ones or the good ones, but let's say that that's the kind of philosophy that you follow. It's almost like when you're buying a truck. If you can afford three, if you can afford three trucks, buy one. If you can afford five, buy three. If you can afford seven, buy four. And kind of go that way, go that route where you are growing, but you're growing, for lack of a better word, intelligently. You're growing at a proper pace, and kind of taking into factor more things that can potentially go wrong as a trucking company owner. So not kind of put all your big eggs in one basket. And you want to do the same thing with drivers, right? So like I said, telematics can be a good way to find out who these top performers are, and it takes a few moments out of your day to find that out. But you can reward that. You can reward it with a pay bonus, a recognition certificate, and a pay bonus. You can maybe take them out to lunch or dinner, or maybe treat their family to lunch or dinner to get to know them better, treat them like family. And so that's definitely a way that you can do it. So like I said, fleet telematics. It's a great way to find out if this driver or the driver that you think is performing well is actually performing well, and then you reward based off of that. Another thing you can do is you really want to support that the drivers in your fleet with whether you have two trucks or 15 trucks or 150 trucks, is drivers' mental health. Driving a truck is very physically and mentally demanding. So, driving during the COVID pandemic has only added to driver stress levels. You want to encourage drivers to get enough sleep and exercise, and to spend time outdoors when they're not driving, obviously, or use, other meditations like other techniques like meditation. My dad, for example, he was one of my drivers, and the same kind of thing as well. So, and the way meditation would work is you can have your drivers search up, or you can provide for them some really good titles of frequency meditation. And frequency meditation is really, really good to reduce stress, and also to kind of help you almost heal or cell regenerate faster. Like, it's crazy how good it feels. I do this meditation every single night before bed, and I wake up refreshed, ready to go, and it's amazing. So meditation would be a great way to help drivers reduce their stress levels that they may have. You want to support them if they report instances where you know, safety protocols are potentially not being followed. They need to know that their health, safety, and well-being is extremely important to fleet management, and so you want to make sure that you are there for them. Um, Genuinely speaking, you want to make sure that that's the case as well. So, in addition to this, you also want to, I guess, number four would be optimize the routes that these drivers take for you. More drivers are expressing an interest in being home on a more regular basis. The regional haul segment of trucking is actually a growing part of trucking. Shortening trip times and routes is one way to, both get freight delivered and see that drivers have more at-home time. And by optimizing routes, you can reduce the time a driver is out on the road while still operating efficiently and profitably as well. So that's definitely another thing that you can do for your drivers. In addition to this, you want to also improve the communication with your drivers. Messaging tools between drivers and dispatchers helps to reduce errors, cut down on wasted time, and increase on-time delivery. Continuous communication takes the guesswork away from the driver and helps them complete their job more efficiently and effectively. So that's definitely another thing that you can do to retain your drivers in your fleet. And of course, all of this comes with providing better training, right? Too. So better training allows drivers to improve their skills. It is probably safe to say that most drivers want to do a good job, but they may not have the skills needed to be a top performer. So driver training should not be something that happens just during the onboarding process. It should be continual education to become better at hone in on their skills and get better and better year over year, even month over month, right? In addition to this, ongoing training to refresh these driver skills can benefit the entire fleet, actually. There's insights out, detailed insights about a driver's behavior allows training to be tailored to each specific individual based on what they need to improve on. And so that's definitely something that you need to take advantage of if at all possible. Just providing that in and out training and helping them get better at their job and help them gain that experience that's so vital in this industry, right? And last but not least, another strategy that you can implement is obviously investing in vehicle maintenance. This may be one of the larger ones as well. Trucks that break down not only affect on-time delivery but can also damage a fleet's relationship with its drivers. Having well-maintained vehicles helps keep drivers in your fleet. Not having to worry about equipment constantly failing leads to a higher level of driver satisfaction, right? So having top-notch equipment, I see drivers on LinkedIn and other places in real life as well. Even when I had my own trucks, it was always like, you know, thanks for keeping this top notch. Thanks for keeping this updated. Thanks for always making sure that everything's getting replaced on time if something needs preventative maintenance, and always being ahead of that curve. So you're always ready to go and always ready to provide the best equipment possible for your drivers, whether that's on the trailer side or the power side of things, regardless. And so if you implement these things, you can definitely be better prepared and give your fleet a leading edge on other fleets. For some owners out there, I find that they focus on just profit. Profit is everything. Humans are replaceable. So with that being said, it's like, okay, humans are replaceable, but what are you gonna do when half your fleet leaves for something better? Where's that profit gonna come from? You know, so I think it's a wrong approach by certain owners out there. Not to name any names, but just they could do a much better job at even looking like they care, and there's not much of that out there. But there are some top-notch ones in the industry in both Canada and the U.S. One in Canada that comes into mind would definitely be Wellington Motor Freight from Canada, from province of Ontario, and their sister company or their company in the U.S. called Trucking Pros. They seem to do a very, very good job, both from the driver side of things, but on the staff side of things, like dispatch, sales, executives, the decision makers, everybody involved seems to be human resources. Everybody seems to be well in line with that company's mission statement and the way they want to approach things. So Wellington Motor Freight is definitely one of those companies out there that if you're a driver in Canada, I would inquire about what and how they, do their ins and outs for their drivers. And so I'm a big fan of those kind of companies. Another one in Canada that comes to mind would definitely be Bowline Logistics out of Alberta. Although they have offices in like Saskatchewan and Alberta and I think some other provinces as well, maybe BC too. I'll have to double check on that. But Bowline is their drivers are very passionate about what they do. So they drive a lot of open deck stuff. So flatbed, step deck, low boy kind of over dimensional, oversized freight as well. And they do a fantastic job. A fantastic job. They promote their company. They promote driving as a beautiful career. They do it the right way. They talk about their challenges. They talk about their successes. And companies like that, right? That's they're doing this. What I just talked about. They're doing this. They're literally this is a part of their standard operating procedures, and this is how they treat their drivers. They treat their drivers like family, and that's exactly what kind of company you want to work for. Another one that comes to mind out of USA, particularly speaking for dry van freight, it would definitely be Insomnia 888 Inc. out of Chicago, Illinois. Insomnia 888, you can't miss their trailers. I mean, it is an emboldened owl on the side of a trailer looking like it hasn't slept for 7,000 days. So Insomnia is another one that really I truly believe follows this because they're top notch. Everything and their dispatchers, they're all in on the mission statement. Their owner is the company owner is a gem of a human being, and the drivers are fantastic. They've never been late on one of my deliveries. They've never told me that we messed up. We did this, we did that, we have a rude driver, whatever the case may be. It was never from a negative side. It was always very positive, very uplifting. And as a freight broker, I would never have problems giving them 1,000 loads because they follow this for their drivers. They obviously do because otherwise they wouldn't be where they are today. So again, it's companies like that you want to kind of take it to the next level, and if mom and pop companies can kind of go down that same route, I think that they'll be able to retain drivers a lot faster and help this industry kind of beat this driver shortage in a race and make sure that we don't get into a situation where it's at a point of no return, right? We will need drivers. Trucking is everything to all of us. Without trucks, we have nothing at our front doorsteps. We have nothing in our house. We have no food. We have no, shelter amenities. We have no construction for new homes, for additional renovation projects. We have no schools. We have nothing. We literally have not. We don't even have the cars in our driveway because truckers do all of this for us. So if we can at least do these 7 things to help out, I think this industry can go a long way. So again, that's my take on driver retention. This is what I followed. It worked well for me. Again, I said we were a mom and pop shop. COVID shut us down. We did not have the big boy contracts like the big companies. So, we had a difficult time escaping that. Unfortunately, we didn't escape it, but we did find a new home for those drivers and a new place of employment where they could actually, practice the skills that they attained working for us and with us. And that was something that I'm definitely probably in my career one of the most satisfying things was the fact that I could actually do that and go out and fight for those drivers and say, okay, you guys need to hire these guys. These guys will do good for you, because we couldn't do it at the end because of what COVID did with our business. So again, thank you for listening. I hope this was valuable. If you liked this content, if it was something of value to you, please give it a like. Please give my channel a subscribe. Leave a comment, positive or negative. We can have an open debate. You can add some things to this list. What other ways that you can practice this? Driver retention strategies, genuine strategies, and we'll go from there. So, again, thank you so much for listening, and God bless to everybody, and happy Family Day here in Canada. So, cheers. Bye.